connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on Good Morning Idaho. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. It's great to have you along, everyone, and we'll get you through a Thursday morning with our large team of neighborhood reporters bringing you more local stories than anyone else in this market. Coming up in just moments, our Victoria Rodriguez takes a closer look at the growing local impacts of the ongoing government shutdown. Day 2 today, how it could affect critical services right here in Idaho. Then at 6:30, Allie Tripke breaks down the arrest of a Boise-based psychiatrist accused of sexually assaulting a patient. What we know so far and what's next in the investigation. But first, let's get the very latest on our weather this morning with Sophia Cruz. It's been kind of a changeable week, but for the most part, I've really enjoyed this weather.
Yeah, me too, especially because that stretch of sunshine and the dry weather was nice, but now we're finally getting to that cozy fall weather. It does come with some heavy rainfall, and overnight we'll see that come through, but for today and this morning, it's pretty quiet so far, especially along the Treasure Valley, so not really too much happening out here. But as you wake up from Twin Falls into Ketchum, showers pushing off to the northeast. It's pretty light at the moment, but as we head into this evening, that's going to change. So notice that rain chances actually increase as we head into today, especially from yesterday. It was mostly dry, maybe a rain into an isolated shower or two, but you've got 30% chance of rain from Mountain Home up to 60% in Stanley and Ketchum. So the heavier band moving from Boise just up to the northeast and into those east central mountains rolling. So we're not done with the rain just yet, but the good news is that it'll leave us behind with some cooler weather, and next week looks to be pretty good too. And
it helps the firefighters as well, who are dealing with some of those range fires out there. Thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it. We turn now immediately to the government shutdown on this Thursday morning. While the full impact remains unclear, our Victoria Rodriguez breaks down what it could mean for us here in Idaho.
The government shutdown is impacting services nationwide, from delays in pay for federal workers to limited operations at national parks and other agencies. I'm your neighborhood reporter, Victoria Rodriguez, and here in Idaho, several federal sites and agencies could see disruptions. I spoke to Idaho Republican Representative Bryce Gogg, who says he's disappointed with the shutdown and frustrated by the political division.
We can stand it for a few days, maybe a week or two, but it's going to start hurting people in their real lives, and we don't want that.
Here in Idaho, several federal sites are expected to remain open, including Yellowstone National Park, Craters of the Moon, and Deer Flat National Wildlife Refuge. And social media accounts from BLM Fire and the National Interagency Fire Center says updates will be paused during the shutdown. When it comes to Idaho veterans, the Boise Veterans Affairs Office shared a notice with veterans warning that career counseling, the GI Bill hotline, and other services could be delayed or temporarily unavailable. At Mountain Home Air Force Base, airmen have been told Wednesday's paycheck could be the last for a while, but personnel are still required to report for duty. And at the Boise Airport, operations are expected to continue normally as TSA agents and air traffic controllers remain on the job. Though if the shutdown continues, flight delays could eventually occur. When it comes to health care, the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare says there's no anticipated reduction in SNAP or Medicaid benefits. Women, infant, and children, or WIC clinics, are currently open for business, and they recommend WIC participants attend appointments as usual. Idaho Republican Representative Bryce Gogg says the shutdown is frustrating, not only because of its impact on residents, but also because of the divisive messaging online.
As a citizen, I'm very disappointed in the shutdown of our government. It's a waste of time and resources, so I hope it's a short shutdown.
Skog says he does not like the finger pointing he's seen in Washington, D.C., and believes leaders should focus on solutions.
As an Idahoan, I do not like the divisiveness. The finger pointing doesn't help. Please come to a solution, Congress, please.
He hopes lawmakers reach a bipartisan agreement quickly to limit disruptions to federal services that Idahoans rely on. Reporting in Nampa, I'm your neighborhood reporter, Victoria Rodriguez for Idaho News 6.
Major milestone for the Shoshone-Paiute tribes. Their business council has officially approved the application to the U.S. Department of Interior to move forward with building the Shoshone-Paiute Tribal Resort and Casino. The project has been years in the making, following a tribal dispute between the Shopai and Shoshone-Bannock tribes over ownership of the proposed site. In a Facebook post, the Shopai tribes called the resort a transformational step forward, pledging to dedicate 5% of all revenue toward local schools and education. You can read more about the project on our website, idahonews6.com.
And it is the lifeblood of southern Idaho.
When you listen to farmers Ryan Johnson and Dale Hooley talk about the new pumping system along the Snake River, you can tell to them it means the world.
Instant gratification. I was tickled immediately.
The longtime farmers are specifically talking about a new high-tech computerized irrigation and pumping system.
So in here, you have the 4 pumps. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
There's the Hertz, and let's get gallons per minute, 567 gallons a minute. It makes our lives better because we leave more water in the river when we raise better crops because we can apply it better.
The $1.6 million project was paid in part by the Idaho Water Resource Board Aging Infrastructure Grant. It's one of about 25 AIG projects completed so far across the Snake River Plain. By replacing the old and aging irrigation infrastructure, these farmers will take less water out of the Snake River and save more of the water they do take out.
It can be 110 degrees here in the summertime, and you have water running in an open ditch, and so it takes a little water out of the system because of the evaporation, right? Okay. So then you lose about a 1/4 inch, they say, due to evaporation loss.
They believe they will see more return in everything from potatoes, wheat, barley, hay, sugar beets, onion, and mint.
The water is not just important for ag, it's important for like the Boise owners, and it's important to Idaho Power, and so we have to figure out a way that we can all coexist.
A messy situation for residents in Payette. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris, and I'm told that there's a retention pond up in those foothills that gave way, causing a huge mess for folks across the street.
There's a car up on the side of the road on each side.
Ann Rice surveys the damage left behind by a torrent of mud and water she says came from the hills across Highway 52.
It was a pretty ugly mess.
Just after the big rainfall on Tuesday, Rice says she noticed a car accident on the nearby highway. She quickly realized a mudslide was responsible.
It was in fact just a huge flood, flowing water. It was gushing through there, mud and slime, and there was a car on its side.
Rice says the flood came from a busted retention pond across the street, and she says it's not the first time.
From what I've been told by Idaho Transportation Department, at least 11 or 12 times in the last 13 years. We had a drain field in there that handled the rain. When it rained, it handled the water just fine and kept it all out of the barn. And of course, the mud has filled that all up.
Drone footage shows the area Rice says the water came from. We haven't confirmed the identity of the owner of this land, but ITD told me they are planning to go after the owner for cleanup of the road. As for Rice, she's just worried right now about her animals.
Yeah, all my livestock's going to have to be relocated. They can't stand in the mud and the water. It actually can damage their feet. It's not a healthy situation for them.
In the mud near Payette, I'm senior reporter Roland Barris, Idaho News 6. Mudslides continue to plague State Highway 21, especially in that area burned by last year's massive Wapiti fire. As we reported, the highway reopened after a slide on Tuesday morning, but with more rain in the forecast, ITD has decided to shut the roadway north of Grand Jean starting today. The agency essentially moving up a closure that had been planned for next week. The decision aimed at just keeping drivers safer. It will also give crews a chance to repair a culvert, by the way, that was clogged by a mudslide back in August to allow for better drainage. The highway is expected to reopen by next Wednesday. And a warning to farmers and drivers in Twin Falls. As harvest season continues, there's been an increase of debris and mud on the roadway. The Twin Falls County Sheriff's Office says in some places the mud is deep enough to cause serious hazards. The Sheriff's Office reminds drivers to slow down and drive to the road conditions. Additionally, state law requires farmers keep roadways clear of debris. If materials are left on the roadway, farmers could be liable for damages in the event of a crash. In a rare moment, the Pope weighing in on political issues in the U.S., taking aim at the treatment of immigrants and what it means to be pro-life. Details coming up. 12 minutes past the hour. Let's take a look at your national headlines this morning on Good Morning Idaho. With no end in sight, the government shutdown is underway. The Trump administration warning that it could begin firing federal workers as soon as today. Millions of federal workers are impacted, including more than 750,000 federal employees now furloughed. Democrats have demanded Republicans reverse cuts to Medicaid and extend expiring Obamacare subsidies so that health care premiums don't rise for millions of Americans next year. Republicans, though, refuse to budge, and the White House is turning up the pressure, targeting Democratic states financially freezing $18 billion in infrastructure funding for New York City and blocking $8 billion for energy projects in 16 different states that voted Democrat in the last election. The Senate will not be back in session to negotiate until tomorrow. Overnight, two Delta planes colliding at New York's LaGuardia Airport, leaving at least one person injured and causing extensive damage. A flight taxiing for departure to Roanoke crashed into the fuselage of another plane coming in from Charlotte, and the collision damaged the nose and windshield of one plane. The other one had a wing almost torn off. The plane's carrying a combined 93 people. One flight attendant was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And some sad news this morning with the passing of Jane Goodall, the intellectually soft-spoken conservationist renowned for her groundbreaking and immersive chimpanzee field research, died at the age of 91. What a life. The Jane Goodall Institute announcing her death yesterday in an Instagram post saying, in part, her discoveries revolutionized science, and she was a tireless advocate for the protection and restoration of our natural world. All right, now to Pope Leo, the first American pope, making rare comments about American politics. The pontiff taking on the White House on several hot-button issues. Here's ABC's Victor Oquendo.
Pope Leo and the White House engaging in a thinly veiled battle over what it means to be pro-life. Leo, in rare political comments, bringing up the issues of abortion and the death penalty.
Someone who says I'm against abortion but says I'm in favor of the death penalty is not really pro-life.
The Pope made the comments after he was asked about a Chicago Cardinal awarding Illinois Senator Dick Durbin a Lifetime Achievement Award, even though Durbin is a defender of abortion rights, something the church opposes. In defending the award, Pope Leo urged Catholics not to judge political figures on a single issue. In making his point, he then took aim at U.S. immigration policy.
Someone who says that I'm against abortion, but I'm in agreement with the inhuman treatment of immigrants in the United States, I don't know if that's pro-life.
The Pope not mentioning President Trump or the administration by name, but White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responded, saying this.
This administration is trying to enforce our nation's laws in the most humane way possible.
Earlier this year, the Trump administration sparred with Leo's predecessor, Pope Francis, after Francis sent a letter to American bishops saying the act of deporting people damages the dignity of many men and women and of entire families. Border Czar Tom Homan responding.
He's got a wall around the Vatican, does he not? So he's got a wall around to protect his people and himself, but we can't have a wall around the United States.
Pope Leo also addressing Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's speech this week to U.S. military commanders. The Pope saying this way of speaking is worrying because it shows each time an increase in tensions. This vocabulary even shifting from Minister of Defense to Minister of War. Let's hope it is only a way of speaking. Victor Oquendo, ABC News, New York.
Okay, neighborhood of the day is Meridian. We're touch into that cooler weather this afternoon, lower 70s, and a slight chance of showers, but heavier rain moving through overnight. Also, this is where we shot Love Your Neighborhood for this week. That's a photo of Lindsay and I, the wonderful photographer who helped put that story together. If you take any photos of Meridian, send them in on idahonews6.com.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
All right, everybody, it is 6:18, and I hope you are having a good start to your Thursday morning. Happy Thursday or Friday Junior, whichever you like to call it. As you get ready for it, do grab the umbrella. We have this elongated trough that's making its way through. As it does, it's streaming in this funnel of clouds and also bringing in some showers, but it'll remain and keep that unsettled pattern that we've been seeing through at least Friday evening. So when you take a look at this is our future rainfall as we start to gear up for the weekend. About 1.5 inches just coming for Silver City alone is what it's picking up all the way as you head into Stanley, just about half of an inch. Idaho City almost a little bit closer to an inch, and Boise itself also seeing near half of an inch. So heavier rain is expected, and because of this, we have a flash flood watch in effect across our mountains. So this is going to go from today through Friday evening. If you are in these areas, you need to make sure you're staying in tune with the forecast, especially if flooding does occur. And remember that phrase, when you see, or even turn around, don't drown. When you see that big puddling on the road, do not drive your vehicle through it. That often leads to some of the most messiest situations during flooding events. Now, walking you through the next couple of hours, showers scatter across really the Melby area, Murphy, even as you make your way into Jordan Valley. Notice though, you don't get that heavier band of rain until overnight. So a lot of the heavier rain comes overnight. So while during the day you may run into an isolated shower or two, it's not the heaviest and it's not coming just yet. So you should be okay throughout the day, but later overnight and into the evening, that's when that heavy rainfall amount comes. By Friday morning, we see those light showers push through the Treasure Valley, so even more rain to come, and it scatters throughout our Friday afternoon. By the evening, few straying showers, but mostly quiet. Waking up Saturday morning and into that later evening ahead, it will be cooler, and we'll start to see a little bit more sunshine out there. So there is nice weather in store for the weekend. It's just, if you have any chores to do, or maybe you're going to get the car washed, Friday is not the day. You're going to wait and want to wait until at least Saturday or Sunday. So if you're heading out to McCall, this will be the big pattern for you. Heavy rain coming Friday. By Saturday, Sunday, pretty quiet out there, mid-50s over the weekend. Then into next week, we're going to see those areas of fog develop as things start to get pretty cool out here. Take a look at some of these morning lows, even 20s coming your way. So just as we start to head into fall, we're now seeing the shift to a rainy and cooler pattern. Either way, as you head into this evening, if you head out to happy hour, make sure that you are having that umbrella or keeping it with you. Showers will be present as we head into the later evening today. 7 o'clock through at least 10 o'clock. Notice that there's not even a change in these chances of showers. So if you forget the umbrella, you're going to get rain soaked on. So don't forget it as you head into your Friday. By the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, you won't need it. Just really the sunglasses. By then, lower 60s into Sunday. And then next week, nice and dry weather returns.
On the Boise bench, the iconic Betty the Washerwoman could soon be a historic landmark. She's been a Boise bench icon for decades, and now Betty the Washerwoman could be declared a historic landmark. I'm your Boise bench neighborhood reporter, Sahana Patel, and neighbors tell me it's about time she gets the recognition she deserves.
It's what's made Vista popular, and everybody loves her.
From changing seasons to a pandemic, one icon has remained a constant on Vista Avenue for decades, Betty the Washerwoman. Locals say she's been a part of the neighborhood for as long as they can remember.
You know, it was just always a fun thing to see as a little one, and then to come back and she's still here. It was heartwarming.
Now, the city's Historic Preservation Commission is taking steps to declare the animatronic a landmark. If that passes, even Betty's owners wouldn't be able to change or remove her without going through the commission first. For Ruth Teleria, the connection is personal. Betty has been in her family's story for generations.
I was told my dad helped design her. My dad passed away when I was 3-4 years old. This is the only thing I have. So every time I see her, I think of him.
Teleria has passed those memories along to her own children.
It's just something to realize that we have family history here, and other than just be like, oh, I just grew up here, we'll be like, oh, I'm part of this in a way too.
Betty has survived multiple ownerships, now standing outside of Americana Pizza. Through it all, neighbors say she continues to draw people to the bench.
For the Boise bench, she brings people here. People want to see her. Then they get to see the businesses that are here as well.
Locals have seen her progress throughout the years and love her different variations.
I like when they dress her up for the holidays. You know, red for Christmas.
I like the Halloween ones.
I really like the Washerwoman one. I'm kind of old-fashioned, I guess.
And with the possibility of landmark status on the horizon, residents say it would mean a lot.
I would be tickled to death if she was. Then I know she'll always be here.
I really hope that she can become a landmark so that she's protected.
A public hearing for Betty's landmark status is set for October 27th at Boise City Hall. I'm your Boise Bench neighborhood reporter, Sahana Patel, for Idaho News 6.
All I know is I want some New York style pizza now. Thanks for joining us this morning on Good Morning Idaho, everyone. We've got a lot more in store on this Thursday. Here's a look at what's still to come from your neighborhood reporters.
In Boise, the graphic details shared in court as a Boise psychiatrist is accused of sexually assaulting a patient.
Advocates Against Family Violence kicks off Domestic Violence Awareness Month with a proclamation here in Caldwell.
Now we'll look outside from the Treasure Valley Chevy Dealers Tower Cam.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
6:28 on a Thursday morning. Welcome back to Good Morning Idaho, everybody. Hope you're off to a great start. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. Going to be hopefully another nice day. We'll check on our forecast coming up in just a moment. Also this morning, a lot to get to from our neighborhood reporters, like a new ruling out of the city of Moscow, bringing relief to the families of the Koberger murder victims, as crime scene photos must now be blacked out. The ruling lays out the emotional distress of those images outweighing public interest. And after a marathon Boise City Council hearing, Interfaith Sanctuary's new State Street shelter is moving forward. Riley Shoemaker has reaction from both Interfaith and the nearby neighbors. But first, let's get the latest on our weather. Sophia joins us. Good morning, Sophia.
Good morning, Roland. We are expecting some more unsettled weather to lead with us with us into the weekend. So don't put away the umbrellas just yet. I know it is relatively quiet during the day, but we are looking at some rain moving through overnight. And even right now, the Treasure Valley isn't really picking up much of anything. All this blue you see here, that's just ground clutter that the radar's picking up. But otherwise, if you're waking up in Ketchum, or even as you start to make your way over to the northeast, we do have a stream of showers just moving through. So we head through our morning together. There is a slight chance of showers that you could still run into, but it's very, very slight. So if you do see anything, it'll be minimal. It's pretty cool throughout the day, so also don't forget the light jacket. By this afternoon, we're sitting in the lower 70s. So more unsettled weather as we head into Friday, Roland.
All right, looks that way. Thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it. We turn to the news now in a disturbing story of a local doctor who was arrested for alleged sex crimes against one of his patients. Our Allie Tripke has details on what we know.
A Boise psychiatrist is in custody, accused of sexually assaulting a patient, and detectives fear there may be more victims. I'm neighborhood reporter Allie Tripke, and I was in the courtroom during his arraignment, and I have more details about the investigation that led to his arrest. Boise police arrested 45-year-old Alexander Wills on Tuesday evening after a woman went to police in early September and reported that her doctor assaulted her days earlier, sparking a special victims unit investigation. According to investigators, Wills took the victim to a downtown Boise hotel room where the victim reportedly saw hundreds of pills, alcohol, and open Bibles scattered around. Prosecutors say when she tried to leave, Wills forced her onto the bed, sexually assaulted her, and told her she only had a week to live unless she joined what he called, quote, Team Jesus. Wills is charged with forcible penetration with a foreign object. Police say he was already awaiting trial for domestic battery charges. Evidence suggests there may be other victims. In court on Wednesday, prosecutors argued Wills poses a major threat to society, abusing both his religion and his position of power. During his arraignment, the judge set bail at $500,000 and issued a no-contact order with the victim. Wills will also undergo a competency evaluation before his criminal case can proceed. If you or someone you know may be a victim, contact Boise Police, Ada County Dispatch, or visit the Ada County Victim Services Center. For those needing mental health support, the Behavior Health Response Team and the National 988 Crisis Line are also available. As of now, Will's next court hearing is scheduled for October 27th, and Boise police detectives are encouraging anyone with information that could help them with this case to come forward. At the Ada County Courthouse, I'm neighborhood reporter Allie Tripke for Idaho News 6.
Boise police this morning are investigating an unprovoked pepper spray attack at a Mountain Cove Road trailhead just before 7 a.m. Monday. A woman was in a parking lot when another woman got out of a nearby car and sprayed her in the face. Officers are increasing patrols in the foothills, and trail users are urged to stay alert, hike in pairs, and report suspicious activity. Anyone with information should call Ada County Dispatch. A new court ruling says the city of Moscow must black out images that show the bodies of 4 University of Idaho students killed in 2022. As Idaho News 6 reported, the families of Ethan Chapin and Madison Mogan filed the complaint in August after the city released blurred crime scene photos. Now the court says emotional harm caused by the images, even when blurred, outweighs public interest. Nearly 1,200 public records requests have been filed since July. The city says it was required by Idaho law to release the images. According to the decision, the families who filed the complaint are entitled to relief.
Each October, Advocates Against Family Violence dedicates a month to raising awareness about domestic violence. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis at the kickoff event, where the nonprofit is launching this year's campaign with a special proclamation.
By proclaiming October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
It's a proclamation that happens every year as Caldwell community leaders work together to bring awareness to domestic violence.
It takes a community to make a difference. So that's what this is all about, raising awareness so people are aware, look, this is happening every day. And even in a community as amazing as Caldwell, it still happens here.
As community members gathered and joined the Pieces of Hope campaign, adding to the puzzle with words of hope and encouragement, Director Tricia Lofton said the issue is increasing in Kane County.
We are a little over 16,000 individual services.
The nonprofit serves people in Canyon and Gem County, and Lofton tells me they hope to expand.
We all know someone, and I think giving a voice to survivors is really important. They need to know they're believed. They need to know there's someone there to support them.
The nonprofit tells me there'll be more events to highlight the cause, and they're encouraging everyone to wear purple to show support and raise awareness. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis for Idaho News 6.
After a 10-hour marathon meeting, Boise City Council decided plans can move forward at Interfaith Sanctuary's new shelter right here on State Street. I'm Northwest Boise neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker with what this means for the Boise-based nonprofit.
5 hours of presentation from interfaith leaders, followed by hours of public testimony. Supporters say the new State Street shelter is desperately needed.
I've had the opportunity to tour the new facility. It is absolutely beautiful. And so the real important part of the new shelter is that it will have appropriate care for families.
Really a lot of love was shown today. And with that, we'll succeed.
But the testimony wasn't all filled with love. 7 hours in, and neighbors weighed in, worrying about how the homeless shelter would impact their neighborhood.
I think it will have a negative impact on the park and the neighborhood. The question is this the proper location for a shelter? And I don't think it is.
That the city puts in writing a definition of what in crisis means, because we have no idea what that means. And if it's going to mean people high on drugs coming into our neighborhood and being accepted into the shelter, word travels, then we're going to have how many dozens of people high on drugs coming into our neighborhood? And that's a concern.
At around midnight, City Council ultimately voted 5-1 to uphold Interfaith's conditional use permit, allowing the project to move forward with up to 205 beds and conditions to address security, operations, and neighborhood relations, such as pre-approved guest lists and 24-hour staffing. I spoke with Interfaith Sanctuary's Jody Steiger about what this decision means for their mission.
The thing that we do is we ensure that someone has a safe place to sleep at night on top of all the programming. And so that shelter piece was imperative.
And Steiger says the next steps are preparing the State Street campus to welcome guests with beds plus space for cribs, separate wings for families and single adults, and on-site services including a medical clinic, case management, and education programs.
We're hoping to get occupancy sometime in November, which means we can start moving furnishings and all of that in. And then the goal really truly is to have our guests here home for the holidays.
Council's vote clears the way for Interfaith to move forward. The next step is how the shelter and the community will work together under the conditions that are set by the city. I'm Northwest Boise neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, Idaho News 6.
It's the largest outdoor concert venue in Idaho, and its future is up in the air, but you still have time to weigh in. As we've reported, the city of Nampa says the facility simply costs too much. So they're considering options, including a possible sale or a conveyance that would essentially give the site to the College of Western Idaho with a number of stipulations. The issue has prompted a major community conversation. And while the deadline for online comments has ended, you can still sign up up to testify at a public hearing next Monday. That's set for 6 p.m. at Napa City Hall. If you'd like to speak, you'll need to sign up in person or online on the city's website. Napa neighborhood reporter Keith Burrell has been closely following this story for months. You can find his complete in-depth coverage at idahonews6.com.
Over in Ketchum, fire crews are stepping up their efforts to combat the Lake Creek fire, now 44% contained. They are certainly grateful for the rain that we've been getting and have been able to prevent the wildfire from growing. At last update, it's been hovering at a little over 500 acres burned. Out of an abundance of caution, of course, a level 1 or ready evacuation status remains in effect for some homeowners, as does a road and area closure. It is 6:38. Let's take a look at what's happening in your neighborhood today, everyone. Idaho State Police conducting an important water survival training for recruits today in Meridian. Most water in Idaho certainly very cold year-round, and recruits must understand their limits and abilities if a vehicle ever becomes submerged, like that unfortunate recent incident on Highway 55. It also brings the next generation of state troopers one step closer to graduation in December, and they're also accepting recruits for the next class, which begins in January. Highway 21 north of Grand Jean is closed starting today. Mudslides continue to plague the roadway, especially in that area burned by last year's massive Wapiti fire. The highway had reopened after a slide on Tuesday morning, but with more rain in the forecast, ITD has decided to shut the roadway north of Grand Jean starting today. The highway is expected to reopen by next Wednesday. And the Boise Film Fest kicks off today for its highly anticipated return, running through the weekend. Today's schedule includes a lineup of several short films screening at the historic Egyptian Theater. Tickets are on sale now, and showtime starts at 7 p.m.
South of the Boise Airport, we take an inside look at what tracks Idaho's weather.
Idaho News 6 Allergy Report is brought to you by Boise Valley Asthma and Allergy Clinic.
All right, we've already seen some improvements on our allergy report. Sage now being in the high category, but we still have also Chenopod that's in the low. Now, it has made improvements, but it is still pretty high, so just a heads up. We'll continue to keep up to date on this as we head through our week together.
Do you ever wonder how Scott Dorval tracks storms, or how Sophia Cruz catches those morning showers, or how I plan out your weekend weather? I'm Isaiah Sharp here at the National Weather Service's Doppler radar, taking an inside look at how Idaho News 6 gets your forecast. Idaho weather. It's unpredictable. From windy thunderstorms to frigid snowstorms, neighborhoods across the Treasure Valley see a lot in a year. And tracking this weather is crucial. Luckily, we can. Just south of the Boise Airport, standing 200 feet in the air, is the National Weather Service's Doppler radar that has been scanning southern Idaho, rain or shine, for over 30 years.
This is a very powerful radar, and it's our main tool that we use in the National Weather Service to analyze the atmosphere, to look for those types of storms, and to issue warnings when we see this type of weather approaching people and communities.
I wanted to see the technology for myself, so I got over my fear of heights and made the climb into this massive machine. So I'm inside of the dome right now. You take a look at this absolutely massive radar and you think, oh, it weighs, 2, 3, 4 tons, but there's actually counterbalances that are on this. And I think if I do this right, you can actually move this radar just by slightly pulling it. You can actually move it down, you can move it up. This radar makes a full rotation every 20 seconds, capturing information up to 300 miles away. That data, like incoming lightning, is important to keep Idahoans safe.
Think about how critical that would be at, say, a Boise State football game, not knowing there's a thunderstorm on the way with lightning and, exposing all the people at that event to severe weather.
This towering tool is one of 159 across the U.S., allowing the Idaho News 6 weather team to keep you up to date on every shift in the forecast.
Without the Doppler radar, we basically will be blind when it comes to where the rain showers are, because there's no other way to detect them except from this ground-based radar looking into the sky. And so when that thing is sweeping around, we see exactly where those showers are. It can be right down to the street level. So every single time there's rain and we're tracking storms, it's always with the Doppler radar.
I'm Isaiah Sharp for Idaho News 6.
All right, neighborhood of the day is Meridian, and coming up pretty soon, you'll get to see where we actually saw this week's Love Your Neighborhood, which was in Meridian. We've also got lower 70s and some showers moving through. I'll be showing you the rest of the week ahead coming up.
Love Your Neighborhood, brought to you by ICCU.
You're gonna come here and get a little dirty. And this is our field of pumpkins. We've got an old tractor down there. It is our first year this year. We had a small piece of farmland here that a friend of mine owns. And he didn't really want to farm it anymore. He didn't know what to do with it. And I said, why don't you let me try to do something with it? This is our corn pit. It's rolled corn, so it's rolled whole corn. And it's from Big D Ranch. Yep, that's the slide. It's 35 feet long. You have to climb up the back.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
And that is 10 Mile Farm. So if you were looking for some fun weekend activities, especially as the weather starts to clear and things get cooler, really fun place to head to. And they have a giant corn maze that took me and Lindsay almost an hour to get out of. Either way, as we head into this weekend, still some unsettled weather. So do prepare. We have cool weather moving in. So this trough is moving through, bringing that southwesterly flow and that streamline of clouds. Few and isolated showers this morning over eastern Idaho. But the bigger concern is that there is a flash flood watch in place. So where you see all of this dark green from McCall down to Idaho City into Pine, that is where we could still possibly see showers between an inch up to an inch and a half, which is a very torrential downpour for these areas, especially near those burn scars. So what you need to do if you live in that area where it's shaded green, make sure you're staying up to date with the forecast as we head into today, especially if there is a flash flood watch. Now across the area into this afternoon, and as we start to even think about the evening, this is when we'll start to see those isolated showers pop up across eastern Oregon. Down into tonight at midnight, this is the heavier rain that starts to pour through. So notice all these yellow spots, that's heavier showers incoming, specifically where you head to Stanley, Pine, down to Mountain Home. Into tomorrow morning, it will be a wet commute waking up in Caldwell and down into the lower Treasure Valley. A lot of these showers will start from, again, as you head into eastern Oregon and then shift their way northeast upwards towards our mountains, and the unsettled pattern sticks with us through at least Friday evening. By Saturday morning, it's a lot quieter, breezy, few and isolated showers still possible along eastern Oregon and up into those west central mountains. But the bigger concern is how much rainfall we're going to get. So as you take a look at this picks up anywhere from half of an inch in Boise all the way to Stanley, where heavier amounts could be from Idaho City down to Cascade, even in Silver City picking up just an inch and a quarter. So if you live in the mountains, prepare for some heavy rain as we head into Friday, specifically adding up to McCall. I know a lot of people like to spend their weekends here, but even yesterday they saw that streamline of clouds build in later in the day. Tomorrow will be rainy. By Saturday and Sunday, a lot clearer and quieter, mid-50s, and then into next week, cooler and sunnier weather will make a return. A bit foggy out there, but still, it'll be a lot better than all these rain and really unsettled weather on and off showers that you guys are getting. Into this evening, if you do head to happy hour and you spend maybe a little bit later time outside than you meant to, either way, upper 60s into 7 o'clock. By the time you head into overnight, you still will see those showers, so keep the umbrella with you as you get ready for your Friday. Through the weekend, it's still pretty nice. You still have those nice comfortable 60s, and we start to see that more cooler weather pattern take place, and sunshine does make a return. By next week, it's going to get a little bit warmer. By Wednesday and Thursday, 70s, potentially an 80 as you head into the end of next week. So big flip-flop on our weather patterns lately. All right, it is 6:51, so we are going to get you ready now for your morning commute.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
All right, giving you a look of downtown right now. People are heading now. It's Thursday morning, ready to take on the day. Now, if you are heading out in this direction, it still looks pretty busy on I-84 eastbound. No surprises there. But again, it does look like we are seeing some slowdown as you approach Garrity. This was supposed to show you, but it looks like the camera doesn't want to work today. Now, you've got I-84 eastbound Caldwell to Garrity at 30 minutes, 9 to 7 minutes between Garrity to Eagle and Eagle into downtown.
In this morning's GMA First Look, the hunt for Halloween discounts.
I put a spell on you, And now you're mine.
Major brands hoping to channel hocus pocus and scare up huge sales with their Halloween tricks and treats. According to the National Retail Federation, spending this Halloween season is expected to reach a record $13.1 billion. That's over $1 billion more than last year.
Even before October, half of people celebrating the holiday have already started picking up items. This Halloween, NRF is expecting a record in terms of what consumers are expecting to spend.
And as inflation and tariffs weigh on consumers' minds, discounts are already dropping, even at the beginning of October. And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have much more on how you can score more of these scary savings. With your GMA First Look, I'm Will Reeve, ABC News, New York.
Hey, welcome back to Good Morning Idaho, everyone. We're starting to wrap things up on a Thursday morning, and in case you missed it, these are the top stories we're following from our neighborhood reporters.
A Boise psychiatrist is in custody, accused of sexually assaulting a patient. Boise police arrested 45-year-old Alexander Wills on Tuesday evening after a woman went to police in early September and reported that her doctor assaulted her days earlier. Wills is charged with forcible penetration with a foreign object. Police say he was already awaiting trial for domestic battery charges.
After a 10-hour marathon meeting, Boise City Council decided plans can move forward at Interfaith Sanctuary's new shelter right here on State Street.
The approval allows up to 205 beds with separate areas for families and individuals, plus on-site services like a medical clinic and classrooms. Supporters say it's a crucial step to keep families together, while neighbors remain concerned about safety and the impact on their community.
On the Boise bench, the iconic Betty the Washerwoman could soon be a historic landmark. For decades, the animatronic has drawn visitors to Vista Avenue and has become a symbol for the Boise bench. Now, Boise's Historic Preservation Commission is considering landmark status, which would protect her from being removed or altered without city approval. A public hearing is set for October 27th at Boise City Hall.
And of course, you can learn more about all of these stories on our website. Just head to idahonews6.com.
Now, the Out the Door forecast, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
Okay, it is 6:56, and as you head out for your morning, grab the light jacket and keep the umbrella with you. We could still run into a light shower or two, but the heavier rain moves in overnight tonight. Throughout the evening ahead, it'll be nice and cool, and then those shower chances start to pick up as you head home from work. Again, if you want to read more about the unsettled weather, you can head on over to idahonews6.com. Otherwise, we're going to get you ready now for your morning commute.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
All right, well, we are giving you a live look of downtown. It is Thursday morning and it's going to be a good day, but if you are heading on the roads, just a heads up, it's already looking pretty busy out there. Caldwell to Garrity right now at 20 minutes. Garrity into Eagle just under 9, and Eagle into downtown Boise coming in at 8 minutes this morning, so some slow up already starting around the area. As you head from Caldwell into downtown, your commute time right now is about 40 minutes, and it's only 6:57, so it's early and it's already busy rolling, but at least it's Thursday.
Oh yeah, and the weekend is looking good as well. You want to freak some people out? Check out this video. This is a huge drop in for Red Bull. This guy dropped in from how high?
I don't know, but it set a world record, and this is way too high. My hands get clammy just looking at it. This is how I feel when I'm at Rhodes Skate Park.
This is 70 meters that this guy drops in, and can you imagine how tight the trucks have got to be? Because otherwise the trucks are what keep you solid, otherwise it wobbles.
Well, also the scarier part is not just falling that you have to worry about, it's falling and dying.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not just catching a bad edge.
Oh boy, that guy is brave as can be, and you know, when you do it a million times, I guess maybe it doesn't seem like a big deal to these guys, but
no, that is where I stop.
Before you know it, you'll be doing that.
You can do that first.
If you can't snowboard, you skateboard.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for joining us, everyone. Have yourself a great day. Don't forget the umbrella. We'll see you tomorrow.